Hello, welcome to this week's episode of Am I Going to Die? The topic is, am I going to die of a broken heart? I'm Dr. Jeffrey Gallup, CEO and Medical Director of the ENT Institute.
And I'm Melissa Moritz, Chief Accountability Officer and Head of Marketing here at the ENT Institute. So it's Valentine's Day.
Oh, wow. Today. And how many people are going to die of a broken heart? So apropos, right?
Because I picked it.
Yeah, well, you get credit for it. And, I thought that's the craziest thing I've ever heard of. We're going to do a show on dying of a broken heart. Like, that's silly. But come to find out, since I did my rotation in cardiology, apparently you may die of a broken heart.
I mean, we're 30 seconds in and you just gave the myth and the truth and you just...
I just... all over it. Well, there's a lot to talk about, so it's not that simple.
I'm feeling it right now.
I'm trying to get everybody hooked. Do you feel it in the heart yet? Okay. Do you feel that? Maybe you're already having some of these symptoms, and so it's very appropriate that you're watching our show.
Oh, wait. Do you feel your heart on this side or this side? And there went my microphone.
It's like right in there. Size of your fist, kind of not in the middle, and just slightly to the left. Okay? That's where the heart is.
Still beating.
Yeah.
I'm still alive.
Well, you're talking, so you still have a beating heart. I promise you, if you wouldn't have a beating heart, you wouldn't be talking.
I guess my heart hasn't been broken enough.
Very good. Well, we can bring in personal examples, but let's talk about
this
syndrome. It is a real life syndrome, something they've discovered that your body during times of stress will produce hormones or chemicals that cause the heart to fail.
Cardiomyopathy.
That is the technical word.
He's the doctor.
We've reversed this a little bit, but I'm very excited about talking about it because I did a 2-month rotation in cardiology as a medical student, and my last name's Gallup. So when we examine the heart, we talk about what do we hear in the heart. We use a stethoscope. We hear murmurs, rubs, and gallops. Right?
Wow.
That's how it. So I would listen to a heart and say there are no murmurs, rubs, or me. They thought that was funny the first time I said it. So I really thought about cardiology, and at that time we did not know about this syndrome. So cardiomyopathy is a term meaning that you have inflammation of the heart muscle.
Right. But are the arteries getting harder when you have this reaction to a heartbreak?
Well, that's the difference between what is a true heart attack or what is broken heart syndrome. The arteries are not involved. That's the defining point between what we consider a heart attack and what we consider a cardiomyopathy. Cardiomyopathies are really referring to the heart muscle itself, not the arteries that supply the blood to the heart muscle. So coronary artery disease that leads to heart attacks are the arteries that are carrying blood back to the heart to nourish it.
Okay, and then cardiomyopathy does what to the heart if it's
well,
not
cardiomyopathy there are several types, but usually it means that the heart muscle is not pumping the way it should. And generally there's enlargement because you have part of this muscle, because that's what the heart is. It's just a muscle held together with a couple extra pieces of material that hold the valves in place. But it is one big muscle that pumps it in different ways. You have 2 upper chambers, 2 lower chambers. And the chamber that's affected most is the left ventricle, the left part of the heart. But again, the part that pumps blood out to the body. Right? And it can be enlarged, and part of the whole wall, like a balloon, the whole thing contracts, but maybe half of it contracts. So the other part's just sitting there, and when this one pushes, this one pooches out, so it becomes enlarged. But
we really needed like a heart, one of those plastic hearts to show you, or
yeah. Well, we're living and learning, and we're pretty raw, and but we're very timely. So you can develop this just from chemicals produced when you are stressed out. Right? So you're stressed.
You feel like you're having a heart attack.
You're
stressed out.
And the symptoms can be very similar. You may not get some of the changes, but it looks like a heart attack. And not all heart attacks look like the traditional heart attack. So
if you think you've had a broken heart and it's Valentine's Day and you're feeling like you have a heart attack, what should you do?
you should go see a doctor about it. And if you feel that you're really concerned about it, then you should go to the emergency room, because that is the place where they're going to be able to determine whether you have a heart attack or whether it's just a cardiomyopathy.
How would they be able to determine what it is?
Well, they're going to first assume the worst, that you have a heart attack, coronary artery disease, and they're going to do EKGs, some blood work, and then ultimately they would do an ultrasound to see how the heart beats, and they could see that. And the good news is, generally it's self-limiting in a cardiomyopathy caused by stress proteins, and you'll get better quickly over time. So the outcome is you
need to fall in love again.
Yeah, I mean, just find some love.
And repeat it, and then have that heartbreak.
Well, after a while, you can probably harden that heart, right?
Oh, that's
right?
a song.
We never got that. I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's coming along. I mean, there is that. Yeah. But we don't know what it is until we evaluate. So you must get professional medical help, and you'll be relieved because it is treatable. It is a real thing, but it's rarely recurrent. So the heart will return to normal function, and you will live happily ever after, regardless of what caused that.
If you find your prince.
Well, it's not just about, remember, what causes it? Love loss, death, divorce, anything that stresses you out from whatever reason can cause this. But it's convenient now, here on Valentine's Day, to talk about broken hearts, because that is one way that you can develop cardiomyopathy related to this.
Well, and February also happens to be Heart Health Month.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
American Heart Association.
A little more production information next time.
Yes. So, Heart Health Month. So let's dive into a little more facts on the heart, keeping the heart healthy. What about cholesterol?
Okay, what do you want to know? Oh, cholesterol.
How it affects the heart.
Well, cholesterol is mainly a genetic thing. There's, they're environmental and genetics.
The things you eat and how it affects your cholesterol.
Well, it does. It can cause it to go up. But generally, you are genetically programmed for coronary artery disease, and cholesterols would lead to forming blockages in the coronary arteries. So yes, there are medications you take called statins. I take one, low dose, not because I have any plaques. I don't. But there are other benefits from using statins, we found out. It kind of puts a covering over any of these little plaques so that they don't rupture, because the rupture of the plaque is what causes a heart attack. And the data is very clear on that. But it doesn't mean you can take a statin to lower cholesterol and eat anything you want. I think genetically it determines what you can and cannot tolerate.
I thought you could control it with what you ate.
Well, you eat and exercise. So cause performing cardiac exercise, aerobics for 2.5 hours a day. Again, these are the American Heart Association guidelines. 2.5 hours a week of moderately strenuous aerobic exercise.
Okay. 2.5 hours a week of moderately exercise.
Moderate exercise helps, and taking statins. But there are other benefits too. But taking the statin doesn't mean you can just go eat anything you want if you're genetically predisposed to high cholesterol. That's the bottom line.
Interesting. And then when we were prepping for this, you had an interesting fact about weightlifting and your heart.
Yeah, weightlifting is not good for high blood pressure.
Oh, that's what it was.
That's what it is, high blood pressure.
Huh. So how do you balance, I guess, the cardio with the weightlifting so you're not over on one and under on the other?
Well, you have to find out if it's a problem first. So how do you know? Check your blood pressure, right? It's easy to do. Go into any drugstore. They have the ability to check your blood pressure for free. That's what they do. Your doctors, other people. You can even check it yourself. You can buy a device that fits on the wrist even, that automatically does it. It will give you an idea. So find out first, do you have high blood pressure? Why? Because you may not know that you do. That's why they call it the silent killer, because you really don't have symptoms till later. And by the time you find that out, then you may have other problems. That is peripheral arterial disease and with aorta, not necessarily the coronary arteries, which are the arteries that supply blood to the heart, but with high blood pressure, you get stiffening, if you will, eventually of all the arteries as we age.
So
know if you have high blood pressure.
What's that?
You have to know if you have high
You
blood
have to
pressure.
know if you
and
have
you have
high
to
blood
measure it because you can't tell otherwise.
And is that also a genetic thing?
It
no?
can be. It can be situational, but it has to do with multiple factors.
Heart rate.
Well, I mean, you can have, high heart rate when you're anxious, no doubt, and that leads to high blood pressure as well. Because one of the first things that they ever discovered was that if you can lower the heart rate, then you can probably treat the blood pressure itself. And those were some of the first drugs for high blood pressure.
Wow, interesting. So you can be on all sorts of drugs to keep your heart healthy.
Yes.
And
It's
still
a
die
combination.
from a broken heart.
You can, because that's a different mechanism than coronary artery disease or peripheral artery disease.
There's a lot of articles about the science behind the broken heart and then the spiritual connection behind
Such
the broken
as
heart. Well,
what?
you can't really prove that you've died from a broken heart because of a heart attack, but you've died from a broken heart because your loved one died. Like there's
but
a
those
lot of
there are situations like my grandparents died within 6 months of each other. I don't know if
Perfect
it's from a broken
example.
heart, right? But yes, what do you do if you have a loved one that died? What do you need to do? Well, as long as you're feeling
sad.
well, blood pressure, you're eating healthy, you're sad, but you would know the symptoms are very similar to a heart attack. Short of breath, perspiring, may or may not have chest pain. You just feel not right. You're not thinking well.
And it doesn't always mean like your boyfriend, girlfriend, or spouse. Carrie Fisher, I just read this article, and Debbie Reynolds.
Yes,
Carrie
died.
Fisher was Princess Leia, and her mother, Debbie Reynolds, a very famous actress. They died within a couple of months of one another or so. Very soon, very short together. And then a lot of couples die within, as they age, within a few months of one another. And how about pets? I like this one.
I can't wait to hear.
Well, like pets that are siblings and one passes and then the other one passes not shortly after. They're connected as
They're
well.
dying of broken hearts. Multiple examples.
think
Again,
so.
I didn't think that this was a real thing, but apparently it is.
So we've taken today's episode on Valentine's Day. So happy Valentine's Day to everybody out there. Don't be sad. Go work out. But keep your heart healthy by working out. And of course, you can feel the sadness of having a broken heart, but don't dwell on it too much. It could kill you.
It may kill you. Right? So
Right.
if you feel that you have any of these symptoms, you need to check with your doctor. Check your blood pressure. Number one, exercise moderately, 2.5 hours a week, right? And get your mind focused on all the positive things, right? And don't die of a broken heart. Any other questions you have for me, the expert?
No, just, do all the things you can to keep your heart healthy for this month of February. Also Valentine's Day. Have a great Valentine's Day. We'll be back next week with another topic. Am I going to die from? We don't know yet.
Don't know. We'll figure that out.
But message us or shoot us a comment below and let us know what can we dispel for you or what can we give you more information on. We obviously have a doctor, so we can give you his side of things, and then you've got me, the layman's person over here, just keeping it real.
So anyway, thank you for joining us today. We'll see you next week. Have a great Valentine's Day, and don't break a heart. See you soon.
Or don't die from a broken heart. Stay with us.